You might have a spoonful of microplastics in your brain, and you could have gotten it from the air you're breathing right now. I'm going to tell you how easy it is to reduce the amount of microplastics that you end up breathing in. There have now been quite a few studies finding lots of microplastics in our brains, and they have been linked to increased amounts of dementia. They have found that microplastics increase your risk of heart attack, stroke, not to mention microplastics are linked to lots of different types of cancer. Researchers believe that the higher rates of lung disease that they're seeing globally is directly related to the amount of microplastics that people breathe in. Gnarly. They found lots of microplastics in people's lung tissue, causing lung inflammation and breathing problems. And a study last year also found lots of microplastics in the olfactory bulb, which is tissue in your nose that you would breathe in. That would be a pretty direct way to get microplastics in your brain. We spend about 90% of our lives indoors now, but data shows that the air in indoor spaces can contain around 100 times higher concentrations of contaminants versus outdoor atmospheric air, with indoor air pollution being one of the top 5 health issues in the world. So where do all those microplastics you're breathing in actually come from? Well, pretty simple. It comes from all of your plastic stuff. So your polyester couch cover and your blinds, and polyester like athletic clothing, it gets into the dust. And then as you walk across your floor, it gets resuspended back into the air. Doing the laundry indoors and not having proper ventilation is another big way that you get lots of dust and microplastics in your home. Lots of other activities will make those microplastics even smaller. And the smaller microplastics are, the worse they are for you. So now that we know about all the microplastics you're breathing, what do we do to get rid of it? Well, it's actually pretty cool. There have been a few studies on this, okay, with some very straightforward answers, right? So number one, vacuuming. This has actually been shown to, yes, reduce the overall amount of microplastics. However, in the immediate, it actually will blow more microplastics into the air, but ultimately reduces the amount. If you get a vacuum cleaner with a HEPA filter, even better, okay? Number two, air filters. They are actually quite effective at removing microplastics from the air, especially if they have a HEPA filter. Okay, so HEPA, H-E-P-A filters, those are intended to remove particles down to 0.3 microns in size from the air. That is also the size of many microplastics. And they found that it can remove around 40 to 57% of microplastics. The HEPA filters in this study were able to catch and remove the larger microplastic pieces, but not the smaller sizes. However, because the air filter had a fan, it was then able to basically deposit those microplastics onto other surfaces, which then made it easier to wipe and clean off. Another easy thing you can do to get rid of microplastics is potentially get a plant. So certain plants do show that microplastics will stick onto them, and then you can actually wipe them off. It's unclear whether or not they can actually absorb those microplastics, but the researchers do believe that there's a potential there as well. Another thing is literally just opening your window. By opening your window, you will be diluting the air and reducing the amount of microplastics that are in the air that you're breathing in. Also, if there's any way to increase humidity, that helps because it makes the microplastics heavier, they fall to the ground, and then it makes it easier to actually vacuum them up. All is not lost. A lot of these things are free, and certainly by reducing the amount of plastic things you have in your house, you will definitely be reducing the amount of microplastics that you generate and then have to clean up.